Order for March 24th. We would all please put them on the chairs. Roll call. Ms. Atkinson.
Ms. Atkinson, can you hear the mayor?
What?
Ms. Atkinson, can you hear the mayor?
I'm just getting feedback.
This is right.
She was supposed to call in, but I've not heard from her. Is it possible just to turn the microphone off?
Try that.
I think so.
It's better now for me.
Yeah.
Thanks, well.
All right. Whoever is in on a full conference, would you please answer present and state your name? Yes.
Yes.
Miss Atchison.
Present, Lisa Atchison.
Thank you. Mrs. Conley.
Mrs. Conley, can you hear the mayor?
No, she was up. Mr. Gross is present. Mrs. Nixon.
She's working and she's not available today.
Thank you. Mrs. Race. No. Mr. Hall is present. Okay, at this time, due to the mitigating circumstances of the corona outbreak, we're trying to do this the best we can under the governor's direction, not to have social gatherings. So anyone interested, please phone in or contact the city manager at City Hall, 696-1330. I'll waive the public comment portion this evening. We have no one here in the audience.
Mr. Mayor, reminder, the city clerk is running
Is.
virtual part of the meeting, whether there's anybody holding for public comment.
Anyone, Mrs.
At this time, there is no one in waiting for the public comment.
No one in waiting at this time for our public comment. I think we'll move on to item 4, the public hearing, which we have none. And we have the adoption of the agenda for the counselors present or on teleconferencing. Is there any questions or concerns? I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
support.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as printed. Any comment?
Any comment, concerns?
Madam
Madam
Clerk, should I
Clerk,
do a roll call or do a consent voice?
A roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote.
Call vote.
Mrs.
Ms.
Atchison.
Atchison.
I think she said yes.
Mrs.
Mrs. Conley.
Conley.
Mrs. Conley says, please nod your head yes or no. The audio
Yes
is
or
not so good. Mr. Gross.
Yes.
Mrs.
Audio is
Yes.
Mr. Gross.
Mr. Hall votes yes.
Powell.
The motion carries.
Mr. Hall votes yes. Motion carried.
Moving on
Moving on.
to action.
Action.
What do we, the consent agenda.
Any questions or
Mr. Romack.
Romack?
So the city has been involved with bond counsel regarding the proposed bond for the fire station building that we anticipate beginning this year and hopefully finishing up by June of next year. We are still working out the final bids. That was something that we were hoping to approve of tonight. Unfortunately, we had some issues.
We had some issues with,
Hopefully everybody can still hear me. We had some issues with the low bids. So at this point, I'm simply going to ask that you put authority into staff's hands to seek out a bond from a local bank or placement so that we can get it set and ready to go for when we have the low bid approved. In other words, we're going to ask for the authority to go approach various banks, see what kind of rates they'll give us for the bond issuance, so that we'll know how much money we'll eventually spend over the 15-year period. And then hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have the actual construction bid ready for council to approve at that point. So we're simply asking for authority to move forward on this one.
Mrs. Conley, we can't hear your audio.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 2020 XX, a board authorizing resolution to finance the fire station construction.
If you want.
Second.
Who seconded?
Lisa?
Lisa, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve motion to adopt resolution 2020 XX, the bond authorization resolution to finance the fire station construction. Is there any further discussion? Excuse me.
I'd like to ask one question of the city manager, if you could, please. And this is a minor thing, and I don't think it really matters that much. I noticed under item number 3, insurance, or take it, sorry, but item number 2, period of usefulness, the estimated period of usefulness of the improvement is determined to be in excess of 15 years. I know the bond is being written where we can buy additional equipment and so forth for the station and fire trucks and things of that nature.
Correct.
Is there anything that we look like we might be trying to buy with that that may not last 15 years?
Now, unfortunately, the bids that we received were a little bit higher than we anticipated. So at this time, I do not anticipate there being any money left over at the end of the construction of the building. So the issuance of the bonds, while the language indicated that there was money left over, we could put it towards something else.
Sure.
At this point, I don't think there will be money left over.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion before I call the roll? Hearing none. Ms. Atchison? If you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we got audio. Mrs. Conley? She shakes her head yes. Mr. Gross?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Hall votes yes. The motion carries. Moving on to discussion items, the budget workshop 2021 financial report. I hope everyone has looked over their budget and if there's any this is just to move it. So we made many of them after we're able to meet before the April or June deadline to approve, we still hopefully can make some changes. And then ultimately, if we do pass the budget and there are some issues, we still have some changes that we can do. So at this time, Mrs. Falcon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in your packet, you had quite a few pages for the proposed 2021 budget. Started out with a cover sheet here with all the funds listed, proposed revenues, proposed expenses, and then a net. Some funds didn't work out so well. We're proposing having to use money from fund balance to make those balanced. So I'll explain that as we go through each fund. So the total budget for all funds right now, we're looking at $5,117,515. So we start out with the general fund. General fund revenues. Proposed total revenues, $1,956,020. That's an increase of $102,177 over the current year amended budget. Most of that is due to increased tax revenue. 93,000 of that is from increased tax revenue. We had a pretty substantial jump in our taxable value between 2019 and 2020. That was just finalized at the end of the March 4 review. Our total taxable value is $89,857,350. For 2019, our total tax value is $83,951,602. So quite a big jump in taxable value. So the two largest sources of revenue to the general fund are, of course, the tax revenue. That's the largest. And then the second largest is our state shared revenue. We had a small increase in that as well, proposed about $11,000. Other than that, it's pretty stable revenue. From all those identified in the budget here under the revenues. Any questions on general fund?
I'm just wondering, I had a discussion about this, the Veterans Park donation. And I'm confused about, I can't figure it out. So maybe we can talk about this before the next meeting.
Sure. Any other questions on general fund revenue?
The only question I had, if I may, is I was involved with the fire department so long, I kind of had a tendency to scrutinize that a little bit more. We do indicate that the payment by Nelson Township through the contracting with them does come in as revenue. Has that always been the case? Is it truly a revenue, or is it a payback on money spent for the fire department?
Any major source of revenue, cash in, has to get reported as a revenue.
Okay,
It's ultimately at the end netted against expenses, but for proper accounting, it needs to be reported as a revenue.
okay. I'll have a question later about it. But
Okay. Okay, and we're gonna go through each department in the general fund. We start out with city council. Pretty similar budget from the current fiscal year, just a little bit more under education and training with some new council people. They're interested in some of them, have to attend some trainings. So we bumped that up to 2,500 instead of 1,500. Other than that, same budget. Next, for the city manager, almost identical budget. No changes. Elections, we do have a little increase, about $1,200 increase in the budget. More elections, this November with the presidential election. It's going to be a big election, pretty busy, a lot of, workers needed. We could have up to 4 elections a year, we don't know. We were supposed to have a May one, but that's, as of now, not on the docket anymore, so we have August and November for sure. 2021 yet.
Mr. Mayor, I would just indicate that Mayor raised his hand up.
Oh, great. Do we have an extra computer that I can, these are all tied up.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, for the budget, is that what you want?
Yeah, that was so I could follow along. My old eyes won't read that. I didn't run a copy, and I already got triple magnification.
You need one of these. That's great.
It's not for up there, though. I just got new glasses. Sorry for the delay, but
Even with my glasses.
go on, Mrs. Falcon, please.
Are we in elections?
I just
Yes.
finished elections, heading to accounting.
Too many people looking at me.
So accounting department, 202 department. We have a contract with Redabelle Hafner, our local auditors. A minor increase this year of $250 brings our total contract up to $12,250. But not all of that is charged here. It's charged to the appropriate funds that they audit. So little bump there.
They do a great job for us.
I agree. Next, we have the assessor. Here, to date as of December 31st, we're at 11,000. Kind of a guess.
We could have some more legals come up after the fire station construction and during that.
Yep.
Good call.
Clerk, the 215 department, small increase here, just over $3,000 increase in the total budget. Just, one minor thing with Rebecca expecting, so her medical insurance will go from a couple to a family. Really, that's minor, but it is an increase that we budget for. So, other than that, it's just required training
Yes.
and recertification.
Ms. Fogg, do we have enough revenue or funds in there in case she's out on maternity leave for any length of time for the election to cover that vacancy?
Yes, so what we're doing right now is kind of training the deputy clerk, which is Shandell Navarowski. She's also the deputy treasurer for me as well. We're trying to
Good.
balance the duties, you know, within the time allotted.
Great.
Next, we have board review, Department 247. This is a required department. We just had March board review. The board members do get paid for this meeting. Well, $950, pretty small budget.
General.
Next, we have general, the 250 department. This is where a lot of my as finance as well. Trainings and professional services. We're members of Grand Valley Metro Council. We do an annual contribution to the right place. Our dues, my association dues, dues come out of here. The only new big ticket line item in this one is under capital expense EDA grant. Yes, for this year, 18,800. That would be the general funds portion of the EDA grant, which is being tracked in a separate fund.
Yes.
So we'll get to that one. I think that's the 450. Other than that, same budget as this year. Next, we have the IT department. A decrease in the department here, almost $8,000 less. You remember the current fiscal year, we purchased quite a few new computers with the upgrade in Windows. The version that we were running is no longer supported as of January 1, so we did have to upgrade quite a few computers. So we won't have to do that again now for a couple years. This is just a maintenance contract with our IT people, IT rights. Our leases for the postage machine and the copy. Next, we have city buildings and grounds. So this isn't just City Hall, it's all buildings and grounds. Earlier, Mr. Mayor brought the amphitheater, so that would be under buildings and grounds. This budget is 18,600 less than the current fiscal year. Capital outlay, the very last line item there, is roughly 18,000. 18,000 this year was the whole sound system here in the chambers. The other 30,000 was going to be the heating system. That's on the roof of City Hall here. New fiscal year, we hope to redo the roof on some. Another big ticket item in here, 25,000. That between this 25,000 and some additional funds. The B&B parking lot.
Pretty explanatory.
The cemetery, pretty similar budget here. A little increase, just over $7,000. Mr. LaRose on this budget, putting it together. If you would like to, section 4 and 5 in the cemetery. that needs. Next, we have the police department, three items tracked in this department. Our contract with Kent County Sheriff's Department. Post on that. Contract with police services, the pension expense, that's when we had our own police department. Bill for that. We cover the telephone specifically for what the sheriff's department needs.
Does that go down?
Yeah, did that go down? Looks like it.
681 to
Yeah, this,
677.
from 656 down to 645.
That's good.
Yeah, when I put that 656 together, the sheriff's department was negotiating union contracts. They hadn't settled, so we kind of budgeted on the high side.
Yeah, there you go.
That is the high number, the 656. So in working with the two gentlemen this year, we feel 645,000 is a good number. Next, we have the fire department, Department 336. Worked with Mr. Frazier on this department. We do have an increase of just over $20,000. Really, the big ticket item here is the professional services. That's our expenses to HRC. Hoping there will be enough money with the bond to reimburse ourselves for some of this engineering. Totally, I think we're up to $120,000 that we paid HRC between preliminary design, final design, so on and so forth.
Darla, didn't the CBDT donate $150,000 toward this project?
That was
You.
last
up.
fiscal year.
Okay, it's all gone. All right.
Looking at the CIP for the 2021 fiscal year, Mr. Frazier doesn't plan on purchasing anything. This is, again, reserving funds for future purchases following the schedule that we went through last year. We should be continuing that for a couple more years.
If I may, Darla. This is where that 30,000 roughly a year comes in with my thought process. We set aside as a board monies for replacement of trucks, equipment, and so forth. Could that 30,000 not be earmarked to go right in with that for purchase of equipment? Over a 10-year period, that's $300,000, give or take a little. That replaces a fire truck. Then it wouldn't be a case where we have to start looking for monies all the time. If you have to replace turnout gear, things of that nature, we have a fund that's going into something like the motor pool or the DPW. Is that something that could happen?
That's essentially what we are doing. See towards the bottom of the CIP, there's two line items for CIP.
Right.
One for 32,200. That's a whole list of vehicles that need to be replaced. So that's just a total of 10,000 per year, or whatever vehicles there are. We can show you that at the April meeting in more detail. And then the 20,000 is specifically for the truck replacement. I don't know why we're tracking that separately. That's how it was set up when I came. So essentially, if you look on the balance sheet, you'll see at the bottom fund balance, and then everything accumulated to date by line item, how much is reserved for the county fire truck, for turnout gear. There's a whole list of items that Mr. Frazier has that we're saving money for.
I know that's something we worked about shortly after you took over, extending what our needs for the fire department's needs were going to be. So I was just wondering how that would work out. So.
We have code enforcement, about a $6,500 increase in this department. excuse me, this past year, or the current fiscal year that we're in, we've spent quite a bit of money on, between the city planner and our city attorney, with different situations in town. So we did, with the city manager and I putting the budget together, went from 4,000 up to 10,000 for professional services.
Part of making the city look nicer.
That's what we wanted this to beautify the city, and it's gonna cost us a little, so I think it's paying off doubly.
Yeah. Next, we have planning and zoning. This budget is $6,800 less than the current fiscal year. We had 15,000 budgeted for professional services. As of December 31, we're only at 2,700, so we did dial that one down a little bit, down to 8,000. So overall, I think we can live within the 12,200. Next, we have street lighting. We're hoping someday this to go down, the more we can convert to the LED lights. But we met with Consumers Energy and they said they can't just come in here and convert them all to LED. They have to wait for them to burn out, or as they get replaced, they'll put in LED. That should lower our costs. But we are literally paying $3,500 a month right now for the street lights. So
All the street lights. Yep. That's not including the Main Street, is it?
Not the DDA ones.
That's
This
it.
is all other city
I made
streets.
that clear. Thank you.
I have a question.
There's a question.
Renee has a question.
Just to make sure I'm correct on it, the lighting in the Prairie Run development, that is Consumers Energy, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
All of our funds come from Consumers Energy.
All those lights in Prairie Run are controlled by consumers, so if you have an outage, call consumers.
Okay, just want to double check.
Yep, no problem.
We have community promotions, increase of about 7,000 for this budget. Budget a little bit more in payroll for this. This is kind of a category that DPW frequently gets called to do this, that, and the other thing. We need to pay the people to do that, so that's where the wages come in.
Yep.
Other than that, it's just really the main events that we have, Halloween, Red Flannel, different events that we contribute to.
I have a question. Would the spring into summer or beginning of summer celebration that we are participating in, assuming we are not all still social distancing, is that part of that budget?
Yes.
We don't put a lot of money into that budget. I think there's 200 or so.
Minimal.
Yeah, that's what I've been using to do the city manager's sidewalk chalk event.
Okay.
Most of the rest of that is managed by the library.
That makes sense. Thank you for the clarification.
I wanted to ask about Garden Club. It doesn't look like we used much of the money last year.
That was set aside for watering the flowers by the post office there.
Yes.
What we read at the end of the summer, it was literally $11.
Yeah, I didn't know if in the past, didn't the city throw some money at plants?
I think we did donate $400 to them, and that was when they did the complete redesign of the interior garden. But we've also put a lot of time and effort into helping them get the watering system set up, which I don't think we billed them for that. But we do have a law here that we have to pay for the water that's used.
Oh, yeah.
So we have that metered, and we are paying ourselves for the water that's being used. That's why we have a line item there for watering. Other than that, we don't contribute to them on an annual basis.
Okay.
Apart from taking care of the water.
Right. And they do pick up beads and stuff.
Oh, yeah, they do an excellent job out there. We just
don't
I
contribute.
think Garden Club has enough money this year. So I'm not too worried about that.
The other question,
Community promotion.
community promotion. I gotta look at my screen. You can go ahead, Ms. Falcon.
Next, we have parks. So an $11,000 increase in this budget this year. But what I just caught as I was reviewing this before the meeting, it looks like I budgeted twice $5,000 for the dog park.
Yeah.
So 2 dog parks.
No.
But of course, everybody here knows that the mayor and I are anticipating putting the dog park together, our own. So we're hoping that it'll cost less than $5,000.
I'm hoping to help with that too.
Well, I'm sure we'll have a number of volunteers, but it's going to be a community effort. And so the 5,000 really represents the just the fence fabric and the concrete and the material. I think our time will be donated.
Yes.
Yes.
So I guess that opens up $5,000 for something else. Of course, we have been trying to scrimp and save to put money into the playgrounds. And of course, we are trying to be partners with the CBDP with the redevelopment of the heart of Cedar Springs and the natural playground that they're trying to put up there. So I'll just put that into your ears, and I guess we'll talk ongoing between now and the next budget meeting about what to do with $5,000.
All right. Any questions on parks? Ms. Falcon?
Next, we have employee benefits. Again, this was set up before I came. I'm not sure why these are 2 line items are tracked here. The uniforms that we provide to our public works employees and the workers' comp for public works has been charged to this department, so just trying to keep consistency there. Pretty flat budget. And the last department we have is transfers. The first one there, transfer to GeoBond, that's just general fund dollars. It's general obligation bonds that we've taken out in the past. Gets transferred to its own fund. It's a requirement. So the bond payments are there. Our Act 425 payments, we cut checks every year to Solon Township and a little bit to Nelson Township for them. And then the equipment fund is really struggling. We've talked about this before, entertaining a transfer from general fund to the equipment fund to cover the costs there. When the equipment is not getting used, the equipment fund doesn't bring in money, and we have to maintain the vehicles we have. So $49,600 transfer to the equipment fund makes the equipment fund balance this year. The details of that when we get there. So overall, we have $505 left. Now with the 5,000 we just found, 5,505 is the net for the general fund.
That's after we pretty much fully funded all the requests from the various departments. And I believe we put, what, $25,000 extra into the paving of that parking lot. So all in all, the general fund's in pretty good shape.
Thank you, Darla, for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you. So,
Major Street.
Street. According to the schedule that we received from the Act 51 people, and this is how we budgeted, there was a 3-year period that we're getting a little bit of extra money. So when the Act 51 money comes in, 75% is deposited into the Major Street Fund, 25% is deposited into the local street fund. So we do have a $21,000 increase, Act 51 dollars. Act 51 is the only source of money to our streets. Some cities and townships have extra, specifically voted millage for their roads. We don't have that. We live on our Act 51 money. So if you remember the current fiscal year, we put in $100,000 to repave portion of First Street. That actually came in at $124,000. We didn't There was some engineering that we had to do before that project occurred. We did bump that line item up to $125,000. So in 2021, we plan to redo Second Street from Muskegon to Cherry. That's 4 blocks. So hoping that the price of asphalt comes in and well block.
Something I would point out, though, is that this is not anticipated to occur this summer. It's something that we're hoping to be done in June of '21. And that's because the fire station might have some very heavy trucks going up and down Second Street. We don't want to put down brand new asphalt and immediately have it destroyed. So we're hoping that the fire station project will be largely finished by June of '21. And then we could do that Second Street asphalting and construction. And then the hope is that we're able to do the parking lot at the same time. And so we don't have to pay mobilization twice. Maybe be able to get a slightly discounted price due to the larger amount of work that's being asked of an asphalting company.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So the Act 51 money, we're using that for the bridge to put towards the state match on that on Main Street? Is that accurate?
This is a portion of the act from previous Act 51 money that's reserved for the bridge.
Correct. We have 5 years, right, of Act 51 money we can use?
I think 2023 is the bridge, or is it 2021?
So the bridge will be 2021. And we're going to owe, I think, 5% match on that. I don't know the exact amount, but Ms. Falcon, I believe we've talked about having to bond for that either way.
We had allocated money set aside for that bridge replacement for 4 years.
We have some in the general fund, we have some in the major street fund, between the bridge and the Main Street project.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to have enough to do the complete match on both. Right? So we're going to have to, at some point, bond for some of that.
Yeah, we may have to bond for the overage. Large share of the bridge.
And we have a bond falling off, right? At the same time?
We have 2 being paid, one being paid off September of 2020 and one December of 2020.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions of Ms. Falcon on major streets?
So what we've been doing for the last couple of years, and we plan to do this again, towards the bottom of the second page, you'll see the $50,000 reserved for Main Street projects. Routinely, major streets, cities can transfer 25% of your major street Act 51 revenue to local streets. We decided not to do that. Instead, we're reserving that for these big projects.
Great.
So if you'll see the overall total budget here, we're $12,660 short, but we have well over $400,000 in fund balance, specifically for major streets to cover that $12,000 shortfall.
That's not a real bad problem to have, is it?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Some communities. Great. Any questions of the major street for Ms. Falcon before we move to local? Any head nod?
So next we have local streets. This doesn't bring in quite as much revenue as the major streets. $98,000 in Act 51 revenue. That's up just over $7,000. So on the expense side of this, we're going to put in $115,000 towards repaving. And we are looking at Park Street from Muskegon to Ash. That would be 3 blocks. And then the corner by Wriggle Park, redoing that.
Beach and 7th.
So that would be our $115,000 paving for local streets. And we'll do that the same as major streets. Put it, June of 21, do all those paving projects at the same time. Other than that, it's pretty much routine maintenance, traffic services, winter maintenance. However, on the local street side, we're 94,000 short, but we have 330,000 in fund balance to cover that.
May I ask a question? Can you hear me?
What is
Uh,
it?
The mayor and I talked about a concern of doing crack filling. Is the maintenance line the crack filling part? Like there's a concern about Fifth Street when we have additional traffic when we take the bridge out?
I believe Mr. LaRose and I talked about that as being the next year's project, Fifth Street. But, you know, we want to see what kind of condition it's in after the bridge project. We certainly don't want to fix it before the bridge project.
Actually, it's north from Cherry up to Pine, that's really getting bad.
Yeah, but I don't know if simply filling it in with tar at this point is sufficient. Mr. LaRose, how many blocks is that?
That's a major street.
Like 4?
That's a major street. That's a major.
So we're talking 2022 budgets.
After the bridge. Thank you. Any other questions, Ms. Conlon?
Thank you for the clarification.
Any questions of Mrs. Falcon on local street before we move on? Hearing none.
Next, we have the rubbish fund, solid waste fund, a couple different names for it, where we track our leak once a year and with the increase in taxable value, if we stay at that 0.5 mils that we bumped up to last year, that does bring in a little bit more revenue for us. If we keep the same leaves once a year, brush twice a year, we can cover our expenses there.
And what's the fund balance in that fund? You know?
31,000.
Yeah, so it's a pretty minuscule fund from a fund balance perspective. And of course, and I hate to be the first one to have to say this, but with the recent economic problems that we're going to be having in this country, I anticipate we're going to see either a very flat or a reduction in property values in the next couple of years.
Possibly.
So I would hate to turn this into a roller coaster each year, modifying it. I think citizens like to have, you know, a good idea of what their millage is going to be. So we could reduce it down to, I think it was 0.4 last year or the year before. But my preference would be to, at this point, keep it where it's at, put whatever money we don't use back into fund balance for this. And, in the near future, maybe we could run deficits if necessary.
Sounds good. That's good planning.
It also would allow for a cushion if we were to have a storm and need to do an extra pickup.
Correct. Any other questions on rubbish fund? Leaf, right, brush pickup? Hearing none, we'll move on to department downtown development.
So from not too long ago, DDA wasn't collecting any tax revenue at all. 21,700 current fiscal year. They're going up to almost 25,000 next year. However, when they met in February and gave us this list of expenses, we didn't know what our tax revenue was until after our quarter review. They So they can put 3,000 into fund balance or, allocate the 3,000 to an existing project or a new project. I mean, their budget can be amended at any time.
And they're gonna be having a meeting on Monday,
Yes.
so you guys should see final numbers at the next meeting.
But proposed, this is where they plan to spend portable restrooms, benches, garbage cans.
Yep. So I point out the portable restrooms bit, the DDA, I believe the chamber, and the city, of course. We've had discussions about potentially putting two porta potties, porta johns, out there by the staging area bathroom. With the amphitheater, potential concerts, and all the events that we now have going on out there, having just one lonesome bathroom by itself, probably not going to cut it. Now, the DPW has also been doing some investigation into what it would cost to install another permanent bathroom in that general area. But it's going to be more than $500 per year. So I think the anticipation, Mr. LaRose, was it $250 per month to have two portable bathrooms out there? So I think what was going to happen is the city would contribute $250, the DDA $500, and the chamber would also contribute some. So we could have two additional bathrooms out there throughout the summer. So it's gonna be one of those things that it's never gonna be enough, I think, but it's gonna be better than the one we have now.
Work in progress. Okay.
Next, we have the library fund. So I'm on the finance committee for the library. I met this year with Becky Powell, the board treasurer, and Ms. Clark, the director. There's a couple more members on that committee, but they weren't able to meet with us. So we just put in, line item by line item. The city does collect 0.8772 mils, and then we get, the library does receive 0.4 mil from Solon Township and other anticipated revenues there. No major projects at all. This is just really operations and programs that they'll continue to have. They're $580 short, and they have $174,000 in fund balance. So that will cover that shortfall.
That wasn't me.
I was trying to figure out the Lions Club donation and the Rotary donation.
Rotary, I know for sure, had an annual donation of $750 until the library was built. Now it's, as Donna comes up with projects, she will come back and request something of Rotary. At this time, she hasn't requested any projects specifically. Lions, I think, is more project-based as well. There's not an annual
Yeah, I remember now.
contribution.
See that.
Raised a lot of money for that.
Donna Clark's done an amazing job fundraising for the library. There's a lot of things that she gets done through contributions from members of the community and businesses. We just can't budget for it. We don't know what's coming each year, but she does a great job with that.
We have our new incoming president of Rotary. We have our new incoming president of Rotary.
Are you really? Cool.
Incoming.
Well, thank you for that service, Darla. You volunteer so much for our community.
I don't think you volunteered on that one.
You have?
All right.
The Tier 1 fund, this is the general obligation debt fund. It's a required fund whenever you have a general obligation bond. So when we get our fire station bond payments on the books, this is where you'll see how much the principal and interest is. And you'll see what we have left there. 2012 GO refunding bonds, 2005 installment loan, 2006 installment loan, and 2007 capital improvement bond. So 2 of them will be coming off this next fiscal year. But then we'll be adding probably the fire station next year, and probably the year after that will be West Street.
Of course, West Street, we're anticipating will be revenue neutral, even though we have to bond for it up front.
Correct, we gotta show it on the books.
We have capital improvements fund. This is a fund specifically like when you have larger projects. Hasn't been active in a while, but I thought the size of the West Street project and the fire station will be tracked, specifically separate line items in this fund. Complete estimate at this time. I think for the West Street, we plan to bid it this fall, but it won't be till 21-22 project.
It's actually a fairly simple project once we get to boots on the ground. Engineering thinks that we could accomplish that this fall and winter.
Okay. That would be spending the $872,000 EDA bond that we got for that 60% of that project. Next, we have our sewer fund. Sewer and water are always two funds to work on every year with the change in how we are doing the utility billing now based on the meter size instead of equivalent dwelling units that we were billing under. I looked at the capital needs, some analysis that was done last year when we had the SAW grant funds for the sewer fund specifically. They didn't do anything on the water fund, but all of those charts estimated that we need a 2.5% rate increase for the next quite a few years to accomplish what we need to replace and purchase for the sewer fund. And with that 2.5% rate increase, we're still not covering our costs. So anyway, revenue specifically, 2.5% would bring in $20,000 for the whole fiscal year. 2 departments in the sewer fund are collections and the treatment plant. Mr. LaRose met with Infrastructure Alternatives for the treatment plant side. They are requesting $83,700 for the items needed at the plant, the capital items out there. That's pretty consistent with this year. The other thing that we put in here, some preliminary discussion that we've had internally here, is replacing the drain field out by the treatment plant. That's going to be a big ticket item, and Mr. LaRose would like to start putting $50,000 a year reserving for that project. We'll probably have to bond some portion of it, but the more we can set aside and reserve now, the less we'll have to bond later. So in total, this budget is proposed at a deficit $85,666. But the sewer fund has, so instead of looking at fund balance in the sewer fund, you look at the cash balance. They have just over $1 million. So can easily cover the 85 and have plenty left in the bank for larger projects in the future.
This is including the $195,000 depreciation. So, I mean, this is just my opinion. The sewer fund prior to Ms. Falcon coming on board was simply not being addressed either through the rates or from appropriate capital improvement. And unfortunately, there is just a legacy that we're trying to fix.
Right.
This board has seen my work and my analysis on the depreciation that was lost over the 10 years previous to last year. So I guess that's 11 years, where the fund lost over $1 million just from depreciation alone. It's very difficult to get that back. So it's, as the mayor always likes to say, we didn't do it in 1 year. We can't fix it in 1 year. So this is going to be an ongoing trend for years and years to come as we try to kind of pick up the pieces and move forward with a lot of these things that should have been funded and were not.
Plant is 25 years old and it's been very efficient. And this is some maintenance that's needed to keep it going another 25. Once we eliminate some of these major capital expenses, our costs will go down some. But, you know, that's, call it what you want, that's our growth in the community. If we don't have sewer capacity or water capacity, we won't have growth. Tax base.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How old is the drain field that we're talking about we'll have to replace?
The same age as the plant itself. They were both installed at the same time.
So is that 30 years?
25.
25.
25. So once every 25 years, whether we need it or not, we should be replacing the drain field. Funny how that works.
Upgrading it. We already own property there. It's just a matter of
Yes,
expanding it or going in and cleaning and retro.
sure. I just am trying to point out that 25 years is quite a while to expect something to continue to work continuously the way we expect that to work.
Yep, a lot of flushes went down there.
A lot of cleaned flushes.
Clean, yes, it's been processed first.
All right. Any questions on the sewer fund? Equipment fund.
Water fund first.
Oh, well, that's doom and gloom there too, so.
So we're hoping this fiscal year we can get some better analysis like we do have on the sewer side for future water projects and all that good stuff. So just estimating, I'm proposing a 2.5% increase in the water side as well. That would bring in an additional $60,000 in water fund revenue. On the expense side, this is a lot going into the water side of this as well. But overall, at bottom line, we're 99,000 to the good.
No red numbers.
We're not quite as, we don't have $1 million in the water fund side, but close to it.
And similar to the sewer, unfortunately, we just have not invested as much into the water fund as we should have been through the years. We do have a number of large projects that are coming down the, or for the pun, down the pipe. But it's, you know, we're bringing in 99,000 to the good, which is good. But we will be spending that at some point in the future. I believe we need a water tower where we're going to need to close the loop out there on West Street. We probably will need a new well, and those are all big ticket items.
And the new well will require a new lift station, correct?
No, that's sewer.
Okay.
Darla, may I ask on the 0.999 pension expense? And there's a red line there. Is that from last year or water fund?
Didn't we fully fund our pension requirement?
GASB 68 was a new pension requirement that came about a couple years ago. It looks like in 17, 18 that we contributed $29,182 to MERS for this GASB 68 specifically. I'm not sure. I can look at what this, minus 5774. I'm guessing that is an auditor entry adjusting a long-term payable, basically. We're about 81% funded in total with all of our pensions between Mr. LaRose and the police, all employees.
Yeah, I thought we were good on pensions, because that kind of surprised me.
Good news.
I appreciate the attention to water. That's, as you all know, a thing that is exceedingly important to me.
Everyone.
Yes, but we all have our, some are more concerned about roads, some more concerned about making sure our fire department, we all have our areas of jurisdiction that are what we try to make sure for our constituents are managed and protected. And the water is one that is very, very important to me. So thank you for the extra, and one we've been not funding as much as we should have. So thank you, Darla, for the extra attention to that.
Thank you.
Okay, equipment fund. So this, I mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the general fund. So you'll see a revenue source there, 49,600. That between the proposed revenue, like I said, if our vehicles are out there being used, charged to the parks and cemetery and so on and so forth, then the equipment fund does get the money. But as you can see, through December 31st, we brought in 64,000 in revenue. We've had a very, very mild winter. January, February, we're gonna, collect a little bit more, but not to the extent, had those vehicles been used more than they were this past winter. So there's no way we're gonna bring in 172,000 revenue current year. It's a proposed budget. That's the best we can do at this point.
Yes.
So no new purchases being planned. The only request here, when meeting with Bill this year, we do need to spend some time. DPW staff will spend the time on the existing equipment we have. So between payroll and materials and supplies, we will make sure, the equipment that we do have is running to the best of its ability and, replacing some old parts and that kind of stuff. So a little bit more in wages, a little bit more in supplies. Other than that, nothing new this year.
Ms. Falcon, a purchase of a new pickup truck would come out of this fund?
Correct.
And I believe we do have a new pickup lined up in each of the next couple of CIP years. Is that correct, Mr. LaRose? But currently our pickup trucks are in decent enough shape.
Just because it's CIP doesn't mean it. I don't necessarily think you have to go buy a truck. I would rather use the life cycle of the truck up before we like.
So I guess the point I'm trying to get across is we are funding this in anticipation of having to make those expenditures, but we don't necessarily have to make them immediately. But I would much, much rather have the money in place, ready to go, versus getting to the point where our trucks are broken down and we say, we don't have any money for that.
Yep.
The last fund is another required fund, the perpetual care fund. It's required because we own and operate our own cemetery. A portion, when people buy a lot, covers perpetual care. So.
Okay, thank you.
That is all I have.
Yes, thank you. Excellent job.
That concludes the discussion item on the budget. If you have any questions or concerns, citizens or council people further, please contact Mr. Womack or Mrs. Falcon at City Hall. Any discussions on the council persons on the budget so far before we move into the fire station construction bid? Hearing and seeing none, Mr. Womack, item B.
Thank you. So as I alluded to earlier, it was our hope and intention to approve of a construction bid at tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, we did have some issues with the bids that were received by the city. And so I'm continuing conversation with HRC, the engineering firm, to determine which bid we should accept. Because of course these bids are incredibly complicated. We have to make sure that all the items that need to be checked are checked. And then we also have to see maybe where we might want to cut some costs, especially if we're going to be asphalting Second Street on our own, part of one of our street projects. I know that was one of the line items that we asked for to be bid in the fire station project as well. We might be able to save ourselves, I'm sorry, Mr. LaRosa, is it 20,000 per? Might be able to save about $20,000 on the fire station bid if we're going to do that as part of our major street project instead. So it's little things like that that have to kind of be worked out. Now, the bond placement that council has approved at this meeting is going to take a week or two to get finalized. I'm hoping by your April meeting, I should have a construction bid ready for your approval. So I just wanted to put it here for discussion if council had any thoughts on that.
Anyone listening in, do you have any questions or concerns on the library, or excuse me, the fire station's bid specs? If you have questions or concerns, once they're made aware, I'm sure Mr. Womack will bring us all up to date on them numbers. And I'm sure Chief Fraser will be busy also. Any questions of the persons here this evening on that? Hearing none. Moving on to communications. Everyone, I'm sure, has read the governor's executive orders. And then we have no department reports. Council comments, if any. We'll start with Ms. Conley.
I would just like to say thank you so much to Ms. Johnson and Mr. Womack for making the technology for this Zoom meeting work so that we can continue to be safe and protect our council members and citizens while still allowing business to move forward and to allow citizens access to this information.
Thank you. Mrs. Atchison, are you on the air yet?
Yes, I'm on here.
Any comments?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Were you asking if I had any comments?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I did get every word of the meeting, so that was great. I just kind of got myself off video because I had to put this phone up to my ear. So I think you guys did a great job getting that together and trying to make it so we could all hear and be involved in the meeting and still get business done. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you all, and stay healthy.
Thank you. Renee, Mrs. Ray.
Yeah, I'm here.
Excuse
me.
Comment.
No, I am very impressed with the setup, which is really helpful for those of us that can't make it there. So I appreciate all the work that was put in for that. Thank you, Darla, for all of your work, of course, and I hope that I know that we'll all get through this together and we're all feeling the pain. So just want to say hello and thank you.
Thank you.
Good to hear your voice. I'm glad you're well.
Yes.
Mr. Gross, do you have any comment?
I want to thank Darla for all the work she does put in. Department heads that work with her. They're the ones that inflict the pain simply by dictating the money. But we all know it's there and we have to pay them. Appreciate all the work. Thank you.
Mrs. Powell.
Well, I'm so impressed with this system. I've been to some classes at MML where this kind of thing was discussed, but I never really thought it would happen. So I'm glad we got this practice session out of the way, and hopefully, you know, other people can use us as an example of how to do it and do it well. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yes. Thank all staff for the work. You know, this may be the new normal for us, so April meeting may also be like this. We don't know, but if we all work together and stay away from each other and listen to the governor's orders. We'll all get through this. Ms. Johnson, do we need a motion to excuse Mrs. Nixon?
Yes, if you would like to excuse her, please do make the motion.
Mr.
would like
Mayor,
to make-
I will make a motion to excuse Ms. Nixon, who is being a nurse for sick people today.
Thank you. Or
I'll second that.
Mrs. Powell. Been moved and second to excuse Ms. Nixon this evening. Roll call vote. Ms. Atchison.
Yes.
Mrs. Conley.
Yes.
Mr. Grove.
Yes.
Mrs. Powell.
Yes.
Mrs. Race.
Yes.
Mr. Hall votes yes. Motion carries to excuse Mrs. Nixon. Thanks for all the work. This is a new experiment, a new unknown territory for everyone. Stay healthy and see you later. Well, this is a short meeting.